Woman, you are literally in the car. Get off your phone. Get off your phone. Chat. Within the ability to do so within toss, be toxic to her until she gets off the phone. Hey guys, Saru, thank you for the glizzies. Kaviri, thank you for the glizzies. And thank you, Saru and Waifu, for streaking in my chat before I came online. We love streaking in chat. How we doing? It's been a week. Been a whole week. I have some announcements, some good, some bad. Good announcement is Seribot still works. If you are streaming and you do not have Seribot set up, you are doing yourself a disservice. Well, well, well. Hey, Plaza, what's up? You can't trick me with that. All right, so announcement number one. The flu is not only running through my house right now, it is also running through my sister's house. So we will not be collabing tomorrow. Kaviri, Helldivers 2? Yeah. JMG. You tested the alert module for stream elements. Could be useful to set up later. Cool. You two what? I mean, maybe all you hear is music because the music's kinda loud. Fine. What are we thinking? Negative 40? There we go. Hashtag me too. Oh, you don't get to call a place in Helldivers if you don't even know you're going to be there. I'm being me too'd by my wife right now. Oh, yeah. So, I'm working on the champagne right now because, we never actually got to it on New Year's. Because my buddy brought up, like, so much. He brought so much gift booze that by the time it was time to pop the cork, nobody wanted to. Hey, Nero, what's going on? Chat, another announcement because there's something in the tabs today. And I remembered when I decided to add it to my tabs that there were many times. Yeah, the tabs. The tab. There were many times where I was like, my humor is not cringe humor. I do not like watching cringe. There's a lot of people who like to watch cringe as like their form of entertainment. That's not me. Hey, Snacks, what's up? And there are many times I wish I could just turn it off. So there's some cringe in the tabs today. Hat tip to Asman Chan because he had to like he's the reason I know this is a thing. But we're gonna watch it. Anyway, it's very cringe. So I added a redeem. I added a 6,000 point redeem that you can hit to just be like, nope. Nope, we're not talking about this. Nope, eject button. So you've got a topic eject button. It can only be used once per stream. But you have one. But yeah, my youngest is sick. He's actually recovering pretty nicely. Yesterday he was not great. He was not great yesterday. Yeah, my sister's also sick. So I've got to figure out something to do tomorrow. So I'm probably just gonna play Helldivers with Kabiri. It'll be great. Also, God, we got birthday presents to get for like other families and stuff, and nobody ever tells you about the cost of other people's children and being socially gracious. Goodness. And it is constant because like you have 3 kids, right? And in or 4, like however many. I have 3. So like imagine you have 3 kids and you're like paying all the stuff that they need to like live and go to school and whatever. And then, if they're not losers, they have like at least 3 friends. So now your 3 birthdays a year for the children have turned into like 9 birthdays a year. And that's if they only make a few friends. Some of these upper class motherfuckers be having their children go up with invitations for like literally the whole fucking class for like some birthday that's not even a milestone. RM has 3 kids, waifu has 4. True. I can only count to 4. Oh, doing that thing where I fidget by drinking. I don't care. I might get a little sauced today. Um, I'm kind of all over the place with the topics today. They will be security related. They will be tangential at the very minimum. But I just could not. So much has happened this week, both like personally and professionally, that I just could not keep it to one topic. He's not my real dad. Hey Nero. I already said hi, but I'm saying hey again. Nero says I'm waifu's other child that isn't shared with RM because he doesn't like me referring to him in a paternal way. No, you're right, I don't. But then I also tease you about the fact that you don't do it, and it makes you mad. Not my real dad. I got bruises. All right. You know that song? Before I reference? Oh yeah, yeah. Saru mentions that it's been a while. It's been a while since waifu beat me. That's very true. It's even been a while since you protested about not beating me. You could be if you wanted. Could be what I already forgot. Forgot what I said. Oh, was that a skip? Was that a skip in the? I think it's the capture card because there's no skips on the camera. Oh, I found this neat thing. I was getting it. Oh yeah, you're real dad. I found this neat thing that I'm going to get because I've been having my sister over roughly every month. She wants me to call her month or my monthly visitor now. It's kind of funny. But I saw some microphones today that would be useful for that because the last time I had her over, the longest by far part of that setup was moving the microphone. Is it more meat to eat? If she comes over in the afternoon, I'm not doing morning barbecue. Like that takes a lot of energy. Let me go to a tab, not a tab. Let me make sure my address is on it. Uh, yeah, my address is not on there. Sweet. So these things, they look like the knockoffs of the Rode things. And I was in Best Buy several months ago, like considering getting the Rode Go, and there was a professional like looking at me doing that, and he came up and he's like, "Hey, those things are good, but like they failed me in this like very specific job the other week, and I had to get replacements, and I got these like really cheap things like a third the price, and I swear to God, they transmitted twice as far and were twice as clear at the same distances. It was like fucking amazing. And I think these are them. I couldn't swear to it, but it was definitely a company I'd never heard of. Like it wasn't Steinhauser. It wasn't DJI. There's a bird out there. Can you hear the bird? Or is my echo canceling that good? Not echo canceling, noise suppression. There's definitely a bird out there. Uh, tweet. Having meat in your mouth first thing in the morning isn't for everyone. I was told once that I had that my meat was a life-changing experience by a coworker. But yeah, I found these things. I'm gonna pick these up when Shabbat ends. Um, because the B&H is a very Jewish company. They close for all Jewish holidays essentially. But I'm gonna pick these up, and that'll make it a lot easier when I have somebody over or somebody like side seat, like if I need waifu next to me for prolonged periods of time, or my oldest or something. These are gonna come in handy, so I'm excited about that. Um, so what do I want to get into first? So, I'm not sure how long stream will be today. It really just depends on you guys. Like, I'm thinking of doing some gaming after the security segment. Uh, might be Helldivers, might not. I finally got Helldivers stable. That was fun. All I had to do was downclock my memory by 600 mega transfers. The only app that's not stable at the rated speed, and I think I know why. That was another skip. That is totally not on the camera's end. But I think I know why. The zero dropped frames too. I bet that's the capture card. It's gotta be. It's one of those cheap things everybody bought during COVID, the thumbstick ones. But it's one of the old ones. Like one of the OGs. Alright, someone's blowing me. Oh, okay. Actually useful information. And then people stroking their plink. You guys are crazy. Discord derail. Okay. So, Infraguard's going good. There were some outstanding issues getting signed up with Infraguard, but I've been going to the oh really Jesus Christ, guys. Why would you want to hear me while you shop, waifu? Doesn't that generally cause you some sort of distress? Doesn't that generally not make you happy is when you can hear me when you're shopping? Well, it's fun this time, isn't it? She doesn't like it, chat. Except now because she gets to make herself the center of attention. Just like any mod. Oh! I guess we know what we're going over first. So, it's no secret on this channel that I'm not very fond of moderators as like a general security threat because of how much streamers tend to tell them about their operations and the rate at which they turn into bad apples. And Asmon made me quite painfully aware of either never or always fuck your mods. Both? Both? Um but this is the one of the most mask off mod moments I have ever seen. And we're gonna get into that. So who's seen this? Who has seen this? Who in chat has seen this? Snacks, I suggest you avoid having mods for as long as you can. And, a lot of streamers will make, like, their friends mods because, like, nobody else will do it. And I understand that, and I get that. The problem is, and you'll understand it more after watching this guy, is they will take being demodded very, very personally. And in past streams, I have, like, come up with this thing where you basically soften that blow by, like, when they're no longer a mod, as long as they were in good standing when that happened, you give them, like, a special role or something that, like, recognizes their service. The mods really, they want a moddy purple heart is what they want. They want a moderator purple heart. So give it to them. Or or give up on the friendship you thought you had, because if you demod a friend, no matter what the reason is, they're going to take it super personal and it's going to cause problems. So anyway, let's get to this. Let me pause Spotify. Haven't needed to mod since I fixed the filters. You haven't been there. Oh, called out. Called the fuck out. You should give her a moderator purple heart. Anyway, let's start this.
Hello, Spez, Mr. CEO of Reddit. I hope you have received this public video that I have created and sent to you via your email. I'm Brian, or Stale2000, or
Insanely invasive, by the way.
Tarot Card. I was the top moderator of your #1 gaming subreddit, r/livestreamfail, before I was recently removed from that position by the Reddit Code of Conduct team. There was an announcement related to a livestream-related game show called $1 Million Fan. It was basically a game show like Survivor or Big Brother, where fans of a streamer compete in different challenges with an influencer or a streamer for various prizes.
Now, in case you missed that past, like, the rapid fire, who am I? This, I believe, was the head moderator of Livestream Fails, which, you may hate Reddit, but I assure you that because of the way Discord works, most Discord moderators are also like this. Not every moderator on every platform is, like, the same, but the way those two platforms work encourages kind of, like, the same behavior. So, like, you're getting a window into that, like, right now.
The kicker here is that there was a grand prize of $20 million, supposedly. But I also had a stretch goal, and that was, what if LSF could be part of the show in some way? I don't know, there could be like a LSF-themed best clip contest. Like, contestants compete in one of the kind of small challenges, they make the best clip, and then somebody kind of wins a prize at the end. This felt like one of the coolest things that a subreddit has ever done. I mean, being...
No, that is not one of the coolest things a subreddit has ever done. Oh, man. I think r/place does cooler things, like, on a daily basis. That's just me.
In a freaking reality TV show in a topic that's directly related to the subreddit, how awesome. And what I can tell you, for those who, may not believe that for most moderators, I'm a highly paid software engineer working in San Francisco.
A software engineer in San Francisco's a Reddit mod? Say it isn't so! You mentioned the hairline, by the way. I was prepared for that comment. Like, minus the glasses, it is literally this guy.
I do not need to take a couple $1,000 bribes from, random internet scams, okay? It's really not a secret or very surprising. I got removed directly for the post that I pinned to the top of the subreddit related to the game show or supposed and alleged scam, as well as kind of for deleting comments that were kind of critical of it. Reddit moderators have power. They have influence. An even crazier story is the time
Thinks he's important, chat. He thinks Reddit mods are important.
when some Twitch employees found me in person and borderline begged me to make sure LSF is not used to destroy the multi-billion-dollar company Twitch. None of this would have happened if I had gotten support from Reddit. If Reddit...
Let's hear that again. Hold on.
To make sure LSF is not used to destroy the multi-billion-dollar scam, as well as kind of for deleting comments that were kind of critical of it. Reddit moderators have power. They have influence. An even crazier story is the time when some Twitch employees found me in person and borderline begged me to make sure LSF is not used to destroy the multi-billion-dollar company Twitch.
How would sharing clips from streams from Twitch destroy Twitch? Are we supposed... Is this an R green text kind of thing going on right now? Or are people in San Fran just that crazy? Because I think that's a coin flip.
None of this would have happened if I had gotten support from Reddit. If Reddit had offered me partnerships, if Reddit had pipelines to connect with kind of major companies, if Reddit had lawyers that were helping me, like reading over these contracts, reading over these agreements, none of these very real mistakes that I made.
I thought you were a well-paid software engineer. Why do they need to provide you with legal counsel?
Would have happened. That doesn't mean it's my fault or their fault. It's your fault, Spez. Here's why. Reddit moderators don't need Christmas celebrations or special badges or community or events or team building exercises.
He feels belittled, chat. He wants his purple heart.
No, even the Reddit event budget is barely useful. No, they need real material support. That means access to anything that like a talent manager would give an actual celebrity. So an access to a bounty board or ad deals or lawyers or event organizers or professionals or anything.
Why haven't you joined Mythic Talent?
That actually matters. To summarize, Reddit moderators should be treated like celebrities or influencers, not because they deserve respect or anything, but because they actually have real power and influence.
We want to listen to that last part again? Do we want to listen to that last part again? Or fuck off. I have not seen a Reddit mod go this mask off in a long time. I told you, Snacks, you might not have been here when I was explaining it. You might have, I forget. But that's why I added the please make the cringe stop button. It was only 3 minutes. But damn, I don't want to hear his voice ever again. Just read the transcripts. You know, I didn't pre-watch the comments. Do we want to read the comments? Because the ratio isn't that bad. Like, he's getting ratioed, but it's not that bad. It's like 203 likes and 123 comments. At least, like, the comments have not exceeded the likes yet. Yes. Alright. God, I'm getting canceled. Oh no.
Hello, Spez. Mr.
Oh no, I can't because I'm not logged in. I'm not doing this on other browsers. I'm not doing that. Sorry, that's a very good question. Also, I stopped at a glorious frame. This dude is mad. This dude is so mad. The,
CEO of Reddit. I hope you have received this public video that I have created and sent to you via your email.
You say that, Saru, but I'm getting more like, Chris Weston Chandler vibes from this. My very public video that I sent to you in an email. Jesus, dude. Like, he's not even that uncommon. He's just saying it in public. Like, there's a lot of Reddits that you can't post in the Reddit until you send them your, like, pictures of your legal government ID. It's probably in the spam folder now. Uh, yeah, Reddit mods be power tripping. But anyway, I hope you all had fun with that. Um, I really don't know what to say aside from I warned you. I told you so. If you think your mods are not like this in secret, especially on Reddit. See chat, I told you. I told you. Listening to me in the grocery store is fun until it isn't. I called this. I predicted this not 5 minutes ago. She's already complaining. Anyway, so that dropped. What was it? Today? Today? Yeah, that dropped today. Ooh. I mean, what do you even make of that? You agree with waifu though? Thanks, my ears are bleeding now. Yeah, so we could close out of those. Why was he dropped anyway? That's a very good question, Kaviri. It's almost like he avoided that on purpose. It's almost I was going to resub, but I'll wait a week now. Honestly fair. Honestly fair. The I have had some pretty interesting stuff happen this week. And I need to know if there's anybody out there who employs people that listens to my chat, or not my chat, my stream, but both. Like, chat is part of the stream. That didn't know how bad it was when I said I would throw doubt onto any degree earned during the COVID years, or that even just include the COVID years. Things are getting even worse. Things are getting even worse. Also, Nero, you're not dragging me to karaoke. That implies that I don't want to do that on my own. Waifu in particular does not have to be dragged anywhere to be a sex pest, and you know this. Did he have a mod moment? He said mistakes were made? Who did? The guy I just played? Forcing me to drink? You don't have to force me to drink. Or waifu. She drinks like a fish. Vicariously, but like a fish. Don't sexually harass my new friend. Look, you know I'm good for that. You know I'm good for that. But you also know who you have to talk to about reading the room and social graces. And you know it's not me. Just saying. The I gotta I should have thought harder about what part of this story that I'm allowed to talk about on stream. So I'm kind of creating like a dead air sin, trying to consider what I'm allowed to say about this. I will say that when COVID started, meanwhile your harem sexually harasses most of us. True. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Telling waifu she can say whatever she wants, then remembering it's waifu as soon as she starts talking. Dude, that was so funny. That was so funny. I thought you were high as fuck when you told her that. It's like, well, waifu, you can say whatever you want. And then she just starts dropping mad shit. That was amazing. What was the... God, I forgot what she said. You'll whisper sweet meows in Chatty's ears. Good. Absolutely. We like that. Let's go over to this tab. 1 in 3 college grads admit their degrees weren't financially worth it. Many can't save for a first home or even retirement because they're drowning in debt. Now, this is Fortune, so, you know, grain of salt. But like there's this kind of perverse thing happening, and it's been building for a while, and it's been coming to this impasse where like you pay more money for degrees that are worth less while academic integrity is measurably lower. And on the other side of that, you have employers that are having to remediate people from college in like the basics of the industry. Because college covers like because we told everyone in high school that they have to go to college, universities started covering a bunch of subjects that maybe should have been better left to vocational schools. And now these kids are coming out of college with no skills, a piece of paper. Kaviri, what are you huhing about? Is this a I didn't know they did this in the US moment? And the reason this is relevant to security is actually Direct Report, who I don't mind talking about in this context because we've had long chats about this, and she understands that I am criticizing not her but her curriculum, and we have been very open about how critical I am of the program that she's currently in. You admitted it was worthless before you finished high school. Yeah, but how old are you? Because, like, the closer you are to, I'd say 20 years younger than me, the closer you get to that line, the more popular that is to say. When I was in school, it was go to college or you can't do anything. And I tried it out at like the community college level, and one of the things I immediately noticed is that it wasn't actually a different kind of school. It was just a continuation of high school. Like in the vibes, in what I was learning, in having to take bullshit that has nothing to do with what I want to learn. It was just high school. Again. And I noped out of there because like I was in tech. You don't need an English minor to do tech, and you still don't. But now there are definitely IT degrees, and I'm having to tell her that, keep in mind, she graduates soon. I had to tell her that DDR5 and DDR4 were not compatible. Like that you couldn't put them in the same board. I had to teach her that within the last 2 months. She's almost finished with her program. At a 4-year. Anyway, that context. So this is affecting the industry. This is affecting the industry. So, like, this is like a meta sort of the state of the security industry kind of thing. And how candidates, they're called different things because they are different. What's different, Nero? Well, yeah, but, like, you call USB 3 and USB 2 different things, but one can still be plugged into the other. Like these kids are very, very used to interoperability and backwards compatibility. Like USB-C, Thunderbolt, in a lot of ways, those are interoperable at varying degrees depending on device and desired outcome. But, like, they're used to USB-C shaped thingy go into USB shaped hole and it worky. They're very used to that. They're very used to cloud apps where you don't have to consider the compatibility of things. They're backwards compatibility died after 1.0 PS3. True. I remember when Nintendo stopped shipping consoles that had the component breakout cable. That was the same damn connector that they had from, I believe, the Wii all the way down to the NES. Same cable. And after the Wii, you couldn't do it no more. It could have been the Wii that changed. It was around there. I know you could do it through the GameCube. I know the GameCube could do it. I think you could do it with the Wii, but you definitely couldn't with the Wii U. That I remember. And now it's expensive as fuck to get a converter. Yeah, it is. But the kids are very used to like one cable does everything. They're very used to that. So you have to kind of explain to them that things that just increase in number are not necessarily compatible with one another. Um, think about it. If I buy a GTX 3070 Ti and then I upgrade to a GTX 4070 Ti, isn't the expectation that that goes into the same slot as the previous card? And even if bandwidth ain't the greatest, it works in the old slot. It might be a generation behind on the PCIe, but the expectation is that it works. So there's that. Oh, on your old slot. That's waifu's job. That's why I have the window open. It is cold outside, and with these lights on, it manages to be warm. I considered, and no, I'm not taking the jacket off. I like having layers on stream. I was considering starting out as a seagull today and just turning that redeem off because of that. I was considering that, and I'm still kind of considering it, but holy hell. Um, back to the article. So, first of all, I have not pre-read this article, so we. What do you mean sec? Oh god damn it! Kaviri beat you to it. Dude, that's why the baby decided to wait because it was warm when she was starting to, and then she was like, "Nah, we are gonna wait until it's cold as fuck." Hold on, let me get this redeem out of the way. Let me get this redeem out of the way. I've got to join some random ass Discord channel to get the foodie going. I have a channel for this. There we go. Hopefully, Fugi work. There Fugi is. And then I can turn the camera off. Okay. Okay. Now I can go and mark that. I can mark that as done. We are done. Unban request. Reward. Why is that at the very, very bottom? Anyway, not activity. All right. Oh, you have a few channels. Kaviri beats women confirmed. What? What do you mean I have a few channels? Why are you surprised I haven't banned you yet? What is this cope? Brother, can we talk about that? Can we talk about that a little? First I'm going to turn these lights off. I'm turning these hot ass lights off, chat. Ugh. I love, and this goes for every streamer, not just VTubers, but I notice it's present in VTubers at a higher rate. That could be a bit of a cognitive bias, but I personally notice it in VTubers at a higher rate. They do not like the slightest hint of the mildest form of banter. You go now, grass touching time. I didn't even see you say hello, dude, but enjoy grass touching. Enjoy grass touching. And hello! Have a good time, Lirio. See, like that. That interaction right there, actually. That interaction right there. A lot of people would consider hostile in the VTubing scene. You know, RM never reads chat anyway. My wife is like, Lirio, take me with you. But yeah, the baby got close to... I think it's the opposite, Nero. The baby got close to coming out and is like, fuck, it's cold out here. Back up I go. Uh-huh. But yeah, you know me. You know how publicly called out you would have already been before the ban button was ever pressed. Banter's fine? Do people not like that? No, they don't! What are you supposed to do if not banter with chat? Well, there's like a socially acceptable banter. And that line is completely invisible, generally not communicated, and it's like, oh, if you didn't read my mind, I hit the ban button. Can you mod me for a second? What are you doing, Kaviri? Are you gonna ban Nero? Is that just how's the weather talk for streamers? What, banning people? It's fine until somebody's fifis are hurt, but yeah, but they never tell you what's going to do that. They never tell you what's going to do that, or what is and isn't okay. Oh, acceptable banter. That's where they get to be inconsiderate to their chat as a whole, but the chat does not get to be inconsiderate to them. So, like, imagine if I was like a political streamer and like I had a chat, but like I did the typical VTuber thing. What I would do is I would like, you know what? Let's pretend I make fun of Britain all the time. I don't know of any streamers that would make fun of Britain all the time, so I know that this is really way out there. And that it's probably hard to imagine this, but let's assume I made fun of Britain all the time. And then imagine I'm British in the chat, or maybe I'm even from fucking Zimbabwe, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna throw this back at the streamer, and then I'm like, and then I make fun of Canada, or wherever the streamer lives, and then they can't take it, and they ban that person because how dare they make fun of where they live? You can't help it. Can't help where she was born right after, like, talking shit about British people. What do you mean that chat, Nero? I know what you're talking about, but that's like half the VTuber chat. It's like, British people, ew! Kaviri, what are you doing? Boz isn't doing that until you tell me what you're doing. What do you need to do? Like, I trust you, but it feels like you're up to something. Like you're gonna hit Nero with like a 5-second ban or something. Yeah, that's what I thought. Do not give him a green sword. I guess I should have said I'm... No, but like, there are so many VTubers that do this, and that's why I picked it. Like, I know what you're talking about. But I see a lot of VTubers do that. And then you throw it back at them, and they just can't handle it. They can't take what they dish out at all. Um, God, there was another notable example of this, and I forget what it was now, and it's also pretty common. I'm an experienced mod now. You can give me the power. No. You have enough mod duties. I know you can take it on stream. You'll just cry and think you hate me after streaming. But yeah, but like if you were directly making fun of somebody's like country and then they did that back to you, you wouldn't get in your feelings about it. Adding another week to Risa. I will submit a request on your behalf. But yeah, it's like that's not how we work here. If you do something upsetting in chat, I'm just going to tell you about it. And even if I don't like it, I might not care. I'll just tell you how I feel about it and move on. And it's weird to me that not everybody who decides to go and voice their opinions in public has that attitude. They treat it like a private site, you know? Maybe that's why so many of them are on Fansly now, is because, like, they can paywall the entire broadcast. Maybe that's why they like that platform so much lately. Would it upset you if I said I wanted to get that nut? No. No, I kind of want that button that you've got, actually. That's what I want. But, you know, I only do things that I feel like, so I don't have that emote yet. And this is where Kaviri was like, well, if you made me a mod, I'd add that button, even though he has the power to add that button right now. He's gonna hold it hostage. Yeah, the emote. The emote. Also, thanks for redeeming Seagull mode, Kaviri. I appreciate it. The nut button emote. The nut button. But, like, it... I don't want to attribute the numbers to just this fact, but have you ever noticed that it's the VTubers that are the lightest on moderation that have the biggest CCVs? Have you noticed that? I've noticed that. Like, there are other factors, for sure. Yeah, it's because they're not gatekeeping their customers. The biggest VTubers. So I think the absolute... I haven't been in the absolute biggest VTubers. I should say EN VTubers, because I don't keep up with JP. Actually, yeah, I could ask Saru. Saru keeps up with JP. How are JP chats? CCV. Oh, okay, yeah, CCV. How are JP chats, moderation-wise? Yeah, my apologies. I didn't quite grasp what you were talking about. But how are, like, the JP VTuber chats, moderation-wise? Well, yeah, they're more polite, but... yeah, they're relatively easy. But, like, imagine that scenario I was talking about earlier. Imagine... now, they kind of stick to their kayfabe a lot better, so you're gonna have to imagine more. But imagine a JP VTuber, like, said, that they thought, South Korea was icky. And then somebody in South Korea said, well, I think Japan is icky. Would that person get banned? Because they do that in EN. That happens in EN. A counter example I can show is Pippa. Pippa tends to get as good as she gives, generally. Regardless of what you think about her in any other contexts. She will say horrendous things about her chat, but when chat says horrendous things back, they tend to be able to continue to chat. And also, nearly all JP VTubers don't have a direct access Discord. They are fan Discords. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, how, like, I don't know, or rather, I don't think that Discords are a good idea unless you know exactly what you're going to be doing with it. I don't think that you should be standing up a Discord just to have a Discord. I think that's a bad idea, and I've gone over that at length on past streams, but uh I think it creates a bunch of problems that do not have the payoff. The Minhera VTubers use Line. Ian doesn't really have an equivalent to Line, though. Like, we would not... I'm not sure if Discord would be a thing if the United States had a national-owned, unified carrier service chat. Because, like, Line is a bit more than just the basic text function of the phone, is it not? It's kind of like a global BBS. Like, you have to like friend each other up first, but yeah. Facebook Messenger is closest. That's interesting. But yeah, so imagine Facebook Messenger, but the government owns it and it's on every phone. Does Discord exist in that circumstance? I don't have the answer. I'm just not sure that it does. I'm not sure that it does. Line ties you to your real identity. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I acted like I didn't know that. Yeah, of course it does. But, like, they don't have... They don't... I think that's accurate. I was going to say, without living there, that they don't have this expectation of privacy in the same way that EN people do. But I actually don't know that. That's just a thing I think is true. Just based on vibes. Anonymity on Discord is part of the EN problem. Yeah, I can see why you would say that, and I can't say that I disagree. Exactly? Cool, I got it right. Yay, I intuited something. Give me a cookie. Oh, yeah. So, I forgot what I was talking about. But basically, 1 in 3 college grads admit their degrees weren't financially worth it. How many of them weren't worth it and they won't admit it? They have behave as if their messages aren't private, and they aren't really. Like, that video we were watching about, Elfin. Really, none of your messages are actually private if you piss off enough people. Let's be real. I have a big problem with privacy advocates that put every bit of the privacy on the end user, because some of these problems actually just do not go away without legislation. And I know that's a tough pill for, like, freedoms people to swallow, but that is the case. Unless you regulate a lot of this data sharing, there are genuinely no privacy steps you can take to achieve actual privacy that doesn't involve removing you from society at large. Just straight up. Like, yes, you can hermit in the woods in the log cabin with literally no cell phone or other electronics. Graphene OS will not save you. I love people who think that. Changing the operating system on my cell phone makes me private. Using the Tor network makes me private. No, it fucking doesn't. Those are like layers in your OPSEC, but I guarantee you that if somebody wants to find you and you are participating in society, you can be found. So what are you doing with all this upkeep? Why are you putting yourself through all that fucking upkeep? Like, the average person just does not need that. It's not a, oh, I have nothing to hide thing. It's just like there's a significant amount of hours of upkeep you have to put into maintaining your privacy. And it's not even all that effective. It's just weird to me that I grew up with the white pages and yellow pages phone books and people are now freaking out about doxing. I agree, Saru. I had the same thing. It's like, I don't know where this privacy expectation came from, honestly. I really don't. I think it comes from the fact that we once did have it, or people thought we did, in the early internet when things weren't as connected. But you're you're exactly right about the white pages. It's like your name, you could remove yourself from the phone book, but you had to pay. You had to pay the phone company to remove you from the phone book. The whole point was to have a comprehensive directory, because phones kind of just don't really work without that. But I don't like the privacy advice that's like, I don't care what your risk factors are. I don't care if you just actually don't really need this. I don't care what your personal situation is. You need to lock down your devices in all these inconvenient ways for reasons that should just basically go away with proper legislation. I think that's the wrong fight to fight. I do. Maybe part of it is if you swatted someone as a kid, the police knew where you called from. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But like people who are like advertise, oh, this VPN, it will make your stuff private. Like actual privacy advocates will say that to people. Those people are grifters, by the way. If you find a quote unquote privacy advocate that is like, grab a VPN, it will solve 80 to 90% of your problems, they're grifting you. Yeah, it doesn't. They're just grifting you if they tell you that. So, oh, can we get into curation in general? Curation's like a big case. RM sarcasm didn't come through. Yeah. Um, you know what? I'm gonna take a go piss girl break, and maybe we get into the curation market. But we'll get through the tabs first. But I want to get through the curation industry because that's a whole kettle of fish. Let's see. Boom. I'm trying to give you your ads. Actually, it's not letting me. It says ad starting soon, but it won't let me manually run it. I'm kind of pissed about that. Anyway, be right back. Hey, chat. I forgot to ask a question. Helldivers after the security part of the stream? It'll be a little like roulette. I'm only going if we get a 4-stack. There's some stuff I want to do. There's some squad tactics I want to do. You want to play? Well, that's a +1. Anyway, let's get back to it. Chat, the way I almost just hit the stop streaming button instead of the transition button. Fucking hilarious. What do you mean if it's above you? Like, yeah, we're going to, like, 7s and 8s. But you should be fine. Why am I getting pinged? Chat's chatting everywhere. I swear to God. Okay, so we're kind of talking about the erosion of institutional knowledge and how that is actually affecting operations and institutions that include security. Last week in Infragard, we actually had an interesting presentation about physical locks, which physical locks are just like one of many layers in any security plan. But I can't imagine that there's anybody out here that doesn't interact with them regularly. So that's one of those things that kind of applies to everybody, and I like those things. Like we're not talking about we're talking about like mechanical locks, not the electronic ones. And the companies that are pin testing these locks are finding that the engineers that make the locks actually have little to no experience in defeating locks. So they don't even know what they're engineering against, really. So when these engineers come in, they have to do significant training to get them to that point, and frequently it just doesn't happen. So the pen testers come in and they just wreck shit with really simple stuff because the engineers do not understand how locks are defeated on like a fundamental level. Like sticking wires through mating surfaces and stuff like that. So when I get security personnel, and like security really is like an ocean that is only 1 inch deep. And getting better at security is like making that entire ocean deeper. Because it's going to be the process that you don't understand that is going to get you. That's where you're going to get got. And that applause is so ill-fitting. Jesus Christ. The way you get got is when you have a black spot in your understanding about how your systems work. That goes particularly for people in my position where we're managing an entire security operation, and it is not reasonable for us to have very specialized knowledge in everything we're in charge of, and we have to rely on our direct reports. So if you're securing things and you do not know on a basic fundamental level like how the hardware of your client devices work, you're kind of in trouble. You're kind of in trouble. I could tell you one thing that when I mentioned it to ELT, they hadn't really considered, but the second I said that, they're like, "Oh." Was when the DDR5 thing really kicked off, like really started kicking off. I'm like, make sure your physical device security is good because those DDR sticks are very easy to pop out, and they're like, depending on which ones they grab, that's $100 to $200 a stick, and they can even shave them. Like if you're not monitoring the memory configuration of all of your client systems, they can just take half the memory, and the system will work. And unless you're monitoring chassis intrusion switches and stuff like that. Yeah, more now. More now. But if you're not actively monitoring your entire physical deployment, you have thousands of dollars that anybody that knows about that issue and how easy they are to get can just swipe from your organization. And it's not like security cameras are going to get them. You can palm those fucking things. They're not big. And there's just a camera coverage is not infinite. Camera coverage is expensive. Like you're in a situation where you've got to be monitoring your physical intrusion logs constantly. And there's a lot of departments that do not monitor those at all. There's a lot of departments that do not have their chassis intrusion switches set up because, frankly, they're annoying. Like, if you actually have to do real work on a machine, you're constantly having to clear the chassis intrusion setting because you're constantly opening it and making adjustments because, like, you're troubleshooting something. So you're constantly opening the chassis, triggering the alarm, which makes the BIOS be like, hey, I'm not booting until you reset that. And it's fucking annoying. So a lot of departments just turn those off, don't run them. They're definitely not sending email alerts when they happen because they have significant false positives. Anybody who's ever been over a deployment like that knows that. But yeah, you have thousands of dollars sitting in like really just bog standard deployments because they've all got removable DDR5 in them. And that might be attractive to any thief that is actually clued into that. So, that's all. You have to understand. You have to understand what is in your machines. Like, nobody steals processors because that actually takes a fair amount to remove. They're serialized in ways that I do not believe DRAM is. So they actually can be traced if they're popped into another system. I'm not sure DDR5 has that functionality, but I can't say that it doesn't. I know that DDR4 doesn't. But yeah, that's why people just don't steal processors. Stealing a processor is actually quite messy. But DRAM, just pop the levers, man. You open that side panel, pop the levers, you're done. You got your money. So like, yeah, a lot of people are good at configuring firewalls and they're good at network rules and all of that. But there's a giant gaping hole in physical hardware knowledge in these 4-year programs. People are just not taught the physical layer anymore, and it is so evident. Like, if you want to learn the physical layer, I hope you're doing it on your own because that's the only way you're going to be taught. At least that's how it feels like to me as somebody who keeps having to hire technicians over the decades. Nobody knows shit about hardware anymore. Like, they think they do, but they don't. They will literally tell you, yeah, I know a lot about computers. I put together like 3 whole gaming PCs. All of my friends come to me when they need an upgrade. Oh, wow, buddy. You're so knowledgeable. They will say that with a straight face. On that note, I got some advice for anybody looking to get into cybersecurity. When somebody says how you are with hardware, just be fucking honest. If you think you're hot shit because you can put gaming PCs together, which have been simplified to the point that they're just Legos, that's a good way to actually lose a job. That is actually a good way to lose a position. Nero says, dude, on servers, the amount of government people who ask if we can remove the bezel and locks, and I have to be like, technically yes, but that's not worth the $50 you're saving per server. Yeah. It's not worth it. Depending on other factors, I should say. But it's not like just because they're spinning hard drives that the 24 terabyte Exos is cheap. It's not like the 24 terabyte Ultrastar is cheap. Just because it's a platter drive. But like, that's a thing that's typically more monitored though, to be fair. Like, when you yoink a hard drive out of a server, somebody gets an email. Like, immediately. It might even start beeping and screaming. Depending on, like, how it's configured. Nero, are you playing Rivals right now? The only times I let them is after receiving proof that they're going in an armed skiff. Based. Let's see. Alright. Let's actually get into reading the article because I'm sure I will have exceptions. Most people go into their degrees hoping it will be the golden ticket to well-paid office jobs after graduation day. Chat, is that true? I can't remember ever looking forward to an office job. You're laying on the right side of your face with a heat pad. I'm just asking. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that whole issue. Well, I'm glad you're finally addressing that. You're addressing that, right? This is you addressing that? Finally, like, taking a fucking rest? Dude's been sick. Anyway, especially given the sheer amount of hours and thousands of dollars they've committed to getting the qualification. Chat, put a pin in that. Remind me to talk about credentialism. But past college grads have a brutal reality check for bright-eyed Gen Z. Brother, Gen Z is not who is in college anymore. It is Gen Alpha that is moving into college. It wasn't worth it, at least from a financial standpoint. A staggering 30% of graduates across all generations, have admitted that they're not better off financially thanks to their degrees. There's a certain segment of the population that has been telling you that for years. And they have not always been saying that. I remember when that warning started. Because that is not a thing that people have been saying since degrees and colleges were a thing. That's a very recent advice from older gen to younger gen. And if you ignored that and you're in this so-called 30% group, that is on you. You were warned. I guarantee that you heard it from somebody that you probably don't like. But they were right and you were wrong. In fact, the Nexford University report highlights that many are actually worse off. The majority of graduates say they took out a 25,000 of 50,000 in student. Oh, that's cute. It's cute how low that is. Do this study again in 2 years. But a quarter owe more than 50,000, and they're still paying for it years and years after tossing their graduation caps into the air. Fat electrician. Oh, that's. Thank you, waifu. Fat electrician recently did a video on this regarding vocations and how people think having a 4-year in a vocation is going to get them past the newbie stage. I was floored when I heard that that was an expectation. I'll be real. Like, what did you mean? What do you mean you thought a 4-year was going to mean you didn't have to do the grunt work as an electrician? What do you mean you thought that? Oh yeah, people are going to like 4-year programs for being an electrician, by the way. Crazy, but apparently true. A third of grads are drowning so much in debt that they're having a delay saving for their first home. Okay. When was this published? When was this published? Like this week. Their student debt is not why they can't save for a house, lady. It's because median houses are crazy. All right, having 50K in debt is bad. Especially since a college degree, a 4-year degree, is not getting you a 6-figure job. Because that's my litmus. That's like my bare minimum, actually. I'm not taking out $50,000 of debt to get anything less than 6 figures. I would consider getting only barely 6 figures by amassing 50,000 in debt to actually be a failure. Like, that's a crazy amount of leverage. When you worked in building houses, everyone hated the school people. Like, they'd rather have a high school grad who has actually done it before. That has been my modus operandi for years when it comes to hiring. Because you can feel the hunger in an interview. And fuck, I can train you. I can train you if you are hungry. I can do it. But you give me somebody who isn't hungry and knows everything because they have a 4-year degree, I can't train them to do shit. I might not even be able to train them if they're hungry. Same with heavy machinery. I don't care. You got a degree and a cert. Have you ever actually driven an excavator? Right. Right. How do you come out like... First of all, a degree in heavy machinery? I didn't even know that was a thing. What do you mean there's degrees in heavy machinery? I would think you would just train people on the heavy machinery in a controlled environment and not read about it. Like, fucking Harry Potter, as bad as it is, Harry Potter went over this. What was it, the 5th book? Whichever book it was where the pink lady showed up. And the defense against the dark arts class became nothing but theory. Like if Harry Potter can get this right, like, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. And there's also no excuse for trying to delude kids into thinking that they need degrees to do these things. That's fucked up. Yes, and they're bullshit because you aren't required to touch the equipment to get it, so everyone hates them. Right. Not to mention learning outdated stuff and companies using... Yeah, like... I get how, like, the field of physics may not move fast enough that you were not automatically behind by the time you finished your PhD. But if you were to take, like, a 6-year program in cybersecurity, you would come out of that program with obsolete knowledge. Absolutely obsolete knowledge, because the private sector moves a lot faster. Physics isn't real. I had a tweet about that. I had a tweet about that. About how people don't care about the rules until the rules would have saved them from somebody had getting one over on them. And physics is included in the rules they'll try to ignore to that end. And we all know who made up the dinosaurs. I mean, you say that as a joke, but like also true. Remember when all the Earth's oil came from dinosaur fossils? Do you remember that? Remember when the entire world's supply of oil came from dinosaur fossils? And even retirement for a decade. Dude, no one is saving for retirement right now. This is going to be an absolute catastrophe in like 15 to 20 years. Because like pensioners already have their pensions, but like in about 20, 25 years, most millennials, so people my age, most millennials, I think a super majority of them, are under the assumption that Social Security will not be there for them. And I think those people are correct. Meanwhile, they're being pinched on the other side and can't save for it themselves. Like, that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be problem. Put them in the military. Oh wait, 20-year retirements are no longer a thing either. Are they not? What's retirement look like in the military now? Instead of their degree being the launch pad for a successful life and career, some 14% admit they had to delay moving out of their parents' house and starting a family because of hefty student loans. Dude, imagine having a 28-year-old kid in your house. Imagine having that. Oh, no. I'm about to say something pretty controversial. In the United States, this is a little more easy. But in Europe, this is a little dicier. But roughly the same thing. So the baby boom generation is causing problems. Shocker, I know. But this time it's not their fault. And this particular aspect isn't their fault. The problem is we have an upside down pyramid because of the fact that they are baby boomers when it comes to population. So by the numbers, the grift doesn't work if all the baby boomers get their retirement at the age that they were promised their retirement. They're like doing the math versus how many years you're collecting until you die, and they're being like, oh, we gotta raise the age to reduce the amount of years you're collecting benefits. Because there actually is no, in the United States, Social Security is not a fund. It is a budget flow. It's money flow. It's not, there's no savings account for that at all. You have a solution for baby boomers? Please tell me it's that they should pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Please tell me that's your advice for them. But yeah, it's a numbers thing. Not that it'll ever be lowered. You just need to enforce the life expectancy. You hit it off to the glue factory. I mean, you joke. You joke. But kinda. To make the math work, kinda. Actually, a lot of baby boomers that like aren't the rich ones are having to get a job because because inflation is so bad that social security is not, and they're still working. They're retired, but they're still working because social security just doesn't pay for anything anymore. It just doesn't. Your plan is to hit the quit button when your body starts failing. Hey, Curious, what's up? Thanks for making it. I'm sitting here wondering why this person thinks a college degree is the only reason people can't save for retirement or their first house. Who is this? Wow, she's young too, or at least her picture is fascinating. I'm nitpicking the story a bit, but like this line, a third of grads are drowning so much in debt that they're having to delay saving for their first home and even retirement for a decade on average. No! They're having trouble saving for their first home because the college degree that cost them $50,000 in college debt to get is paying them $45,000 in annual salary. They're already underwater. That has nothing to do with the debt. It has to do with the fact that the houses they can afford, quote unquote, are 6 times their salary. Wait, we are supposed to save money? Yeah, I can save money. I'm blessed to be able to do that, but I can. I have 0 college. Yay! And don't forget that AI is taking all the jobs now. You know, the fun thing about that should be another stream, honestly. Because, like, I think I've gone over this before, but I really want to dig into, like, human in the loop and how companies are actually scaling instead of shrinking. Because, like, anytime anyone ever tells you that a technology is going to save you money, they are lying to you. Because the second you realize any quote-unquote paper savings, you're going to scale out till the point that you're spending more. So you're going to girl math that out. Also, it's destroying institutional knowledge, and when that chicken comes home to roost, oh, buddy. It doesn't help that most people go to college to try to get jobs that don't actually exist. Yeah, that's also a problem. That's like a really big problem, because the college offers degrees for fields that they know are oversaturated. Um, the college accreditation process is supposed to de-accredit colleges for doing that, but we all know how effective that has been. Human in the loop, ghost in the shell, all that jazz, those are not the same things. Based. That's a based comment, Curious. That's a based. That's exactly what is happening. On that note, I was telling Kaviri about like the math of why the social security age is going up. So there is the math about how if boomers survive to the ages that they are anticipated to survive to, that we can't pay them. But there's also the fact that we're just adding a lot of burden to money that comes out of the so-called Social Security Fund. Because Social Security doesn't actually have a walled-off fund. It comes from general revenue, and money is fungible. So to have like other social entitlements when those are being pressured by other external factors, the Social Security budget is often targeted as a place to recover some of that money. Um, and that's also an issue in Europe. Like that's you call it pensioning over there, I believe, but or at least UK does. But it's the same fundamental thing. It's that money is fungible, and we'll just take money from pensioners to pay for this other stuff. Let's see. But yeah, instead of their degree being a launch pad for a successful life and career, you see, that only addresses the supply side of the equation. I think a degree can still be this. I think a degree can still be this at the cost of $50,000 in debt. What it can't be is a start for this where the starting salary for that same degree is below $60,000 and a house is $400,000 and eating for a week is $300. That's when that stops being true. The funny thing is, Curious, is that you don't pay for it. They just charge you for it, and those are very different things. They do charge you for it, but there's never been a social security fund. It's never existed. It's always come from budgetary flow. Like they don't even take it to like reinvest it. It just goes straight to like current and time. Like it is by definition a Ponzi scheme. It is a Ponzi scheme. And the problem with the Ponzi scheme is that the people currently taking from it are the most top-heavy part of the population. Because no one can afford to have children because they took all the money. No, I'm talking about trouble with the education system in general and how that's causing cybersecurity defense to have issues. And it's an issue that crosses multiple domains, but it does affect cybersecurity. And it has to do a lot with institutional knowledge rot. You're not working for your retirement now. I'm working for the retirement money of the generation before mine. Yeah, and if if this generation keeps having kids at the rate that it is having them, that system will collapse. It won't be a matter of like taking social security. The system will just be fundamentally insolvent. And that is why we started we knew this was coming. That's why we started mass importing immigrants in the 80s. That was never about like helping the people coming in. That was never a thing. It was about inflating the it was about doing a few things. But mostly it was about getting more people on the tax rolls. That's why I have kids, so they work to pay for my retirement. The problem is the way we've let that go is that it's a net negative now. So now not only do we have the original problem, but the new population is also not a net positive to the system. So that's great. Let's see. Task failed successfully. Yeah. And that's what that's always been about. There are other things that's been about, but we're going to keep on topic. I don't care about the system. I care about me. Too bad the system also cares about you. That's the problem with not caring about the system, is the system cares a lot about you. Um, yeah, on that note, we were talking about how like privacy advocates are seem to be very, very afraid of pushing for legislation, and I don't understand that. Because you're not going to solve any of our privacy crisis with individual action. You're just not. Words again. Scary shit. What are you, a horror streamer? I should be a horror streamer, but it's a flock of seagulls. I will steal all the snacks, including your snacks, Stevie. Welcome in. Seagulls are very known for stealing snacks. So while at the time grad surveyed expected they'd land an entry-level role paying around the 52,000 mark. Whoa! Do you guys remember what my cutoff was for taking a $50,000 loan? A wild slime has entered the chat. Do you guys remember what I said my cutoff was for taking down a $50,000 loan like just a few minutes ago? It was 100K. And I would feel like that was basically a bad trade. These kids are taking out $50,000 loans for $52,000 jobs. Did I call that or what? After graduating, the reality was stark. Most started out around 35,000. Fuck. Waifu, don't you make 35,000 working at the craft store? Isn't, like, I don't mean to, like, dox your income or anything, but, like, what? I think you do. Do the math on that real quick. Like, don't put it in chat, but, like, do the math. A degree for a retail job? Are you kidding me? Like, I knew it was bad. I didn't know we were that cooked. I assumed the 4-year would at least get you 60. I'll get a W-2 soon enough. Yeah, I already got mine, actually. One thing I can say about where I work is that they are very, very quick with those W-2s. Ooh. Dude, when I was job hunting everywhere I looked, wanted senior level support for like 35, 40K. Huh. I wonder why that is. Might be the problem you were just talking about. John Twitch does not like me talking about that problem much, so we will move on. Those who studied law saw a $30,000 drop between their desired salaries and what they actually got offered after graduation. Holy shit. You can't tell me the world doesn't need more lawyers right now. You can't tell me that. That's absolute cope. Those who studied education landed roles paying around $25,000 less than they'd imagined. Dude, my mom in the 80s was telling me, because she saw that what I wanted to be when I grew up was a teacher, by the way. And she saw me thinking that, and she's like, no. Do not be a teacher. It is a dead end. Financially. I am so glad I listened to her. Do not get a degree in education. Holy shit. Force that system to adjust. You do not need a 4-year degree to teach 4+4. I'm sorry, you don't. That's like 3 weeks worth of training on how not to be inappropriate with the kids, and then you teach 4+4. Those who studied education landed roles paying around 25,000 less than they'd imagined, and arts and humanities students. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Thought that they'd land 50,000 roles straight out of college, but they actually got entry level job offers at 30,000. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they do want a master's now for teachers. Like, fuck that. You don't need a master's to teach. I'm sorry. Is there by any chance a reason why companies do not want their employees to discuss salaries among themselves? So that articles like this land. And when articles like this land, what they want you to do is to be mad at the president and not the companies. Actually, I wonder how long we can read this article until they say be mad at whoever the current president is. For many, the disappointment didn't end there. Nearly half of grads had to fork out more money after graduating for further training. And oh my god! I've seen this, by the way. This is what I was talking about earlier. Like, people come out of college and we try to hire them, and they actually do not know the basics about the job. I'm mad at all the billionaires? Yeah. But what I'm actually mad at is that it's a legal requirement to please shareholders. That is like one of the linchpins of this whole fucking thing. One of the linchpins about this whole fucking thing is that it's a legal requirement to make the shareholders as much money as possible. It's called your fiduciary responsibility, and if you're in the C-suite, you're legally, personally bound to that task. I don't know how many people know that, but that's a thing. That's a thing. It's been a thing for decades. To add more salt to the wound, just 8% said that college diplomas matter Okay. That college diplomas matters most in today's job market. In hindsight, the majority think that networking and having demonstrable skills for the role hold more. The people who think that are correct. This is scary shit. Yeah. You work 3 jobs and still not enough to live where I live, and I went to school for my jobs. Damn. I hate that for you. Like, it actually makes me mad. That actually makes me angry. Lower management gets $1 more, higher management gets way more and deals more. Yeah. But, like, you're at retail. You should not be in the same fucking universe as a 4-year degree with $50,000 in debt. You need to move or find a sugar papa, some lavender marriage in some more affordable country. Something. I feel you, Z. I feel you. Waifu. The solution to everything is not come to Florida. I know you want to start a harem on our roof, but that doesn't solve their problems. Chatters who don't know this, waifu's a sex pest, do not fall for her shit. Degrees just aren't paying off the way graduates. Like, I would like to have more, like, streamer friends here. That'd be cool. That'd be great. But, like, where I live is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Let's see. While college costing students an average of 30... Damn, y'all. An average of 30... So let me get this straight. You go to college and it costs you more to attend per year than you're making when you get out. You worked at McDonald's at one point while studying, and my manager there was also a teacher at my university. God. God. So on average... Yeah. Yeah, Florida is its own special hell. Like, you really gotta wanna live here for it not to be awful. Like, and Kyrus knows this, I am a swamp creature. I love the humidity. I love the heat. I love that July is nothing but thunderstorms every single fucking day. I love all of that. If you don't, you probably should go somewhere else. And that's not even getting into, like, the other issues. That's just a weather thing. It's worse than you think it is, I promise you. Thunderstorms can be cozy. The ones we get shake my house. I don't want to live in Tornado Alley or anything, but the house do be shaken. Like, I don't know if it's because we live in some sort of acoustic amplifying sort of, geology or whatever, but anytime we get, like, a good thunderstorm, every single lightning storm, every single lightning strike shakes the house to the point that loose stuff has to be collected. I hear the little guy coughing. I hate that noise. Oh, I hate it. Waifu can tell you. I cannot sleep if I can hear a child coughing. I can't. It makes me angry. It pumps the adrenaline. Like, I cannot go to sleep. And I just sit there fuming about how I can't do anything about it. Just, He's fine. I just gave him honey. Good. The number of Gen Zers signing up for vocational programs and trade schools instead of higher education is at a record high. Good. Because they also pay more. Like, not to be a meme, but some of you people, like, struggling with money, look into HVAC. Don't jump in feet first. Just, like, look into it. I'm not being flippant. It might not be a good fit for you, but look into it. The slightest noise that my brain interprets as even possibly speech piques my brain. Yeah, that's like me with birds. But what happens when it's like somebody you're in charge of taking care of, like when it's your kid making noises of distress, oh my god. That sets me off. Like, if you think you have seen me pop off angry on somebody before, you have not seen me hear a noise from a child in distress. Holy shit. One time one of my kids was like pretending to make like distress noises at the table, like choking noises. Oh man, the discipline they got. Oh, I've never been so mad. Bro, if I didn't have an established career, my ass would be moving into the trades. Yeah, same. Well, I guess I'm in a trade, actually. Waifu brought me a corn dog. She wants me to gluck gluck on stream. Did you hear her? Yep. Get some glizzies in chat. So yeah, as you can imagine, this is having detrimental problems regarding institutional knowledge in cybersecurity, which again, there's a lot more that goes into that than people realize. Like, sure, I gotta configure firewalls and shit, but I also have to deal with understanding all the federal regulations, which go all the way down to where signs are posted, how far away you can legibly read that sign, and sometimes even exactly what the sign says. Like in the case of CGIS data, you have to have specific signage anywhere near anything that is CGIS. The regulations are AIDS, says Omni. Yes, they are. And then I've just got to have like good practice stuff, like how our hedges are cut, how many hedges there are, how obstructive they are of the main entrance ways, how many candelabra per square foot I've got on parking lots, how high the lights are hung. That's called environmental security, by the way. Social engineering is the biggest. Thanks, Kiris. Social engineering is the biggest security hole we have right now. Our ability to detect like bad scripts and bad software is actually really fucking good, and it's so good that it's just social engineering is the primary thing. And social engineering is getting better because one of the things that AI is actually good at is summarizing data. So when they have your social media scraped, and this is what I was talking about earlier with like some of these things will have to be solved through legislation. When your social media is scraped by like these bots, normally in a social engineering attack that they feel requires significant pretext, I'm not talking about, hey John, you applied for a credit card and blah 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 blah. That only works against people that are named John, but but if you call 3,000 people a day, you're going to hit a lot of Johns. And 3,000 is a very low number for automated calling. So you're going to hit a lot of Johns with that. Sometimes in my email, I will get emails about like, hey, I've got compromising pictures of you and I'm going to leak those. Now, for most people, they'll be like, I don't have compromising pictures. But like, if you've got my history, that's something you have to double take at. So there's that. And that's like wide net stuff. But when you when you have an attack where you feel like you have to build a targeted pretext, AI has gotten very, very good at not only rapidly building those pretexts, but now it's good enough to also impersonate the person that would normally be delivering this pretext. So, like, it's actually not hard to leave a voicemail of your CEO requesting you do something out of the ordinary that sounds convincingly like your CEO. That's not hard. That's becoming very widespread. Well, yeah, Omni, I would expect you to physically remove webcams for reasons. or your mom or child or other family. Yeah, yeah. But usually where the money is in the CEO, so they'll get like your boss's voice or your CEO's voice and be like, hey, I need you to transfer this money to this account real fast. We need to close this deal, blah blah blah. I think there's a company in like China that got for like 2 to 20 billion that way. North Korea is actually very, very good at that. Like, state actors have actually behavior patterns where you can kind of guess where an attack is coming from. Like, China will try to steal your information. North Korea is going to try and extract money from you via various social engineering methods. And Russia is basically the only state actor left that actually still practices the I'm going to make your shit not work. Almost everybody else's strategy involves your shit continuing to work because they want your data in some form or fashion. So if you get an attack that just like fucks your shit up, that's probably Russian. Fun fact. Let's see. But for those that are already embarking on a degree or recently graduated, the bad news just keeps coming. Oh boy! Anybody got some black pills? It's time to swallow some black pills. We got Nero in chat. Nero's the king of the black pills. He should be here for this. In 2023, LinkedIn data showed that job ads that didn't require one were up 90%. What are you talking about? Is this sentence as bad as I think it is? Are they saying that job ads that don't require a degree were up by 90%? Hey, Allie, what's up? Why did I yell? It's because the music's still loud in my headphones. That's why. Oh, Nero is here. I don't black pill. I realistically view things. Dude, you black pill so hard. Do not even send me that cope. You are as much not a black pillar as waifu is not a sex pest. Anyway, this sentence is very weird. Yeah, the biggest part of cybersecurity is threat intelligence. I was kind of touching on that earlier. Like, it's not the hacker man's thing. It's not the configuring. Your sysadmin configures the firewall. Okay? That's something your sysadmin does. Yeah, you check it, obviously, but it's like, ultimately it's your responsibility, but that's sysadmin work. Time for D&D, I'll leave you up in a tab, have fun. Have fun at D&D. Escape from this shithole for a while that we call life. Now we can get rid of RM and have waifu take over stream. Where's that redeem? Ooh, that's a good idea, Monkey Man. I should put that at like 100k points. I can just activate it anytime she's not at work. And then you can infer what her work schedule is by whether or not the redeem is available, and then she can get creepy messages from people. But yeah, I think what this sentence is trying to say that job ads that don't require degrees are up by 90%. Call it the cute redeem? Absolutely. It has to be called gender bend and then turns the lights off and then she's in your spot. That's fucking hilarious. At the time, it was because employers were turning their attentions to skills first hiring, but the situation has since become even more dire. Now, not only are employers calling degrees irrelevant, called it! This is where the system collapses. I have been predicting this for several years now, and we're going to go over another way that it's collapsing, because this actually is completely ignorant of the erosion of academic integrity that is going on behind the scenes, and I don't think people are aware just how bad it is. At the time, it was because employers were turning their attention to skills. Okay, I read that part. Now, not only are employers calling degrees irrelevant and even hiring for personality above credentials, but the number of entry-level roles available for fresh-faced grads is significantly shrinking. Gee, I wonder why entry-level jobs are going away. Maybe it's because inflation is so high that the minimum allowable set of skills that it is worth hiring for is through the fucking roof. My parents did not believe me when I called it. Well, this is an article in Fortune magazine. You can pixel peep the URL here, and then you can send this to your parents. In fact, I will put that in chat, and then you can get your told you so. There. You can get your told you so, and it will make you no other money, but at least you can tell your parents that you were correct. In the UK alone, more than 1.2 million applications were submitted for fewer than 17,000 graduate roles last year. Okay, chat, it's time to get a little controversial as somebody who is like a hiring manager. I am going to say the thing you're not supposed to say. The reason for that is because there is a subset of the population that really enjoys recruiters and really enjoys applying for jobs that they have no business applying for and making it hard to sort through applicants because 98% of them are looking for a green card or looking to maintain their green card. And they will just shit applications at literally everything, and I get maybe 2 applicants who I feel like actually read the fucking position out of hundreds. I have to look through all of those, the ones that get through HR's big filter. So I'm not even aware of the applications that aren't even getting through HR's big filter. I get several hundred applications for like these entry-level jobs, and maybe 2 or 3 of them have tailored their resume to the position or have read the position at all. And I can tell just like based on what the resume says whether or not they read what the position was. And I'm like, at first I had the foolish idea that wow, these people are really stupid just not reading the position and sending their resume in, and then I realized it's being done on their behalf by recruiting companies. So that's part of it. When you see 1.2 million applications were submitted for 17,000 graduate roles last year, you can blame like Indeed or something or whatever the underground Indeed is. So yeah, that's what that stat is. Meanwhile, Americans report that the probability of finding a job right now has hit a record low. Same reason. Same reason. Also, as waifu can attest, and as I can also attest, Gen Zers are well aware of how much company loyalty there isn't, and their work ethic matches that understanding. They're terrible employees. They're absolutely terrible employees. And I can't even really blame them that hard because the companies are also terrible. So, you get what you pay for. Thanks to AI, many early career jobs are being automated. I don't think I have to convince anybody here that this is a bad idea. It's a terrible idea. But it is also happening. One of the scientists who helped create the technology has even warned that the days of all office jobs are numbered. Not all office jobs. There are office jobs that are just, and I mean this literally, take this paper file from this filing cabinet and then move it into this other filing cabinet. Yes, those jobs are in jeopardy. I agree. And they should be. There are a lot of office jobs that are not exactly like that, but there are office jobs that are literally that. Everyone needs a hot receptionist. I'll be real with you. Yes. What do you think a receptionist is for? Like, it's a joke, but like it's like your first contact point for people who are walking in your door, and like people walking in your door is an increasingly rare thing. I know that, but they are the first contact point between people who physically walk into your facility. So like, yes, You can have the babe and the himbo both at the desk, and you can cover all your bases. That brings up a good point, RM. Will infidelity go down with AI taking jobs? That's a great question. That's a great question. Most of that is work-related. No, that's not doubtful. He could be onto something. They will be cheating with AI. True. They'll be cyber cheating. I mean, yeah, they already are, but like it'll just become cyber cheating with AI girlfriends is where using an online forum to find a girlfriend was when I was 19. That's about where that is right now. In about 10 years, people will call you crazy for saying that was ever unpopular. Yeah. What are the scientists who helped create... Okay, yeah, we read that. The experts... Oh, boy! The experts... It's time to be told how to think. Advice for now for the swath of young unemployed grads is to turn their backs on the subjects they studied and instead apply for non-degree retail and hospitality jobs that they could have just dabbed straight out of school without the debt. Bro, there's human interest stories all the time about how awful it is that people are already doing that. What do you mean? The experts are living 30 years ago. They're experts at 30 years ago. Experts advise young people to do the thing young people have been doing for 15 some odd years. Thanks, experts. I'm honestly surprised that in Fortune magazine the expert advice was not in the form of do not blame the companies for this, blame whoever the president is in the current year that you read this article. I'm surprised it didn't go that route, to be honest. So kudos to the author for not going that route. But like the expert advice is like 15 years out of date at this point, which is, is par for the course. And the reason I'm going after this is because on the one hand, you have very understandably upset people with degrees that can't seem to find jobs and are buried in debt. And on the other, employers are like, none of these people are coming out of school with skills that I need. And these are both true, at least in my personal experience as a hiring manager. Like, both of these things are true at the same time. Omni, 100% always insert president's fault. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you are homeless, why not just buy a house? Just stop being poor if you don't like it. I agree, Kaviri. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Bootstraps will cost you $29.99 a month for the tie them on your shoe functionality. Introducing Cyber Laces. Bundled with your Verizon subscription. We should become the United Cities in Kenshi and just outlaw being poor. Oh, it wouldn't be so funny if it weren't so dystopic. I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, so in the unlikely event this person ever sees this, I'm sorry. When Kaiman Pope showed up at Goldman Sachs as a college intern in the... I hate internships. In the summer of 2018, it was what he hadn't learned at college that tripped him up. Oh, wow, you're saying the new guy is new? Oh, no! That's another thing I find at, like, big multinationals, is big multinationals do not tolerate the concept of being new. They don't like it. They want you to have hit the ground running skills, but they want to pay for McDonald's employees. Anyway, Like, you're not allowed to be the new guy anymore. Actually, no, I'm not moving on from that. You're not allowed to be the new guy anymore. You're not allowed to learn your job. You're just going to go through the revolving door of, like, fresh-faced young people that can totally do the job with zero experience. There's a reason everybody who's, like, great at their job, there's a reason I was never the new guy. You're cool like that? I believe it, because you are a superior life form. So, coming from you, I buy that. But, like, okay, I'll look at Discord. Y'all have been bothering me with, like, pings all night. What's this ping? What's this ping? What are you trying? What are you trying to show me? Is it the if you want to drink a juice? What do you... Come on, man, throw me a bone here. Oh, an ad. Oh, I thought ads were playing. I missed the last ad play, didn't I? Whoops. People person and good at problem solving. Oh, fuck. Come work for me, then. You can deal with these piled higher and deepers that I have to work with. That might upset some people, but my boss will cover my back on that one. I'll get, like, I will get finger wagged, but I'm safe. The 30-second audio. Maybe. I would like to get through my tabs today. Let's see. Pope, then a rising junior. Okay, was he a new guy or a rising? Had taken classes designed to give him broad exposure to the world of computer program. Oh no. Oh no, chat. Even in 2018, this was one of the most saturated job markets there was. Like, in 2018, computer programming was as saturated as VTubing is today. Anyway, moving on. This was just before COVID. Once at Goldman Sachs, he wished he'd had more classes that delved into specific programming languages and that had kept pace with the newest languages many businesses are using. I kind of disagree with that as a person who, one of the only things I learned in college was computer programming. You actually, I get that you want to be like the Java master when Java is popular, but if you don't learn how to program in all languages, by learning the fundamentals at a very deep level, then we'll keep going. I was able to complete tasks, but not as quickly and efficiently as my colleagues. That's because you're literally not experienced, Pope man. This is what I mean. It's like, you're not allowed to be new, said Pope, who graduated from Virginia State University and is now pursuing his master's in information security at Carnegie Mellon University Heinz College in Pittsburgh. So he's double dipping into the scam. He knows it's a scam and he's double dipping. Why? These people are presented to us as the smartest of our society. That's how they're held up. Oh, you're doing a master's? Fantastic. Like, no shade to anybody who has a master's. What I'm saying is, like, the way the media portrays you guys is like that I should expect you to never fall for this shit. That's how you're portrayed by pop media. It made me think this is the Bazinga effect, actually. This is what happens when you Bazinga people. It made me think the college curriculum needs to be revamped. It does. I have gone on ad nauseum about that. They just had me learning one programming language and then everything else was sort of theoretical. So they dove into the theory, but then they taught you only one language. Okay, I can see why you thought that was a problem. If it was just, like, theoretical and you can learn any language because you're so goated about how languages are structured that you can just do that, that'd be one thing. But now it's starting to sound like you got a little bit of theory and a little bit of only one language, and that does suck for you. Pope expresses a common frustration among college students and the businesses that hire them. Whether they majored in computer programming, nursing, marketing. No. I guarantee you nursing is still taking everyone it can get. They might be complaining about what they know coming out of school, but they are taking everyone they can get. Now, they might be... Like, it's so bad in nursing that they're trying to create, like, some sort of not quite a nurse, but you're allowed to stick needles in people kind of person. I read an article about this not too long ago, but they're trying to find a qualification that is under the current lowest qualification so they could just, like, get more bodies in the hospital helping with tasks. It's crazy. Like, it's not even phlebotomy level. It's just literally, like, stick the IV in the arm and that is your only job. Majored in computer programming, nursing, marketing, accounting, or many other areas of study, graduates often find that their courses didn't prepare them for or keep them up to date on the technical and practical skills they need for their first job. That's because universities... Yeah, C++ is great and all, but not everyone needs to do that. In fact, modern programming paradigms make C++ kind of a niche thing to learn. Because modern programming paradigms are literally write this program in a WYSIWYG and have AI do the hard part. I'm not even kidding. Graduates often find that their courses didn't prepare them for keep them up to date. Yeah, because academia is slow by nature. They're just this is part of credentialism. Which I wouldn't say mostly Python. The most popular language right now for real applications is still Java and Java derivatives, but it is still Java. Somehow. Java's going to be the next COBOL. Like, when I'm on my deathbed, I will be lamenting that there are still servers out there running Java. You can say everything you learned at school didn't help you at all. That sucks, ZB. I learned on the go. I learned on the job on the go. But you were never the new person. We have to make that clear. Like, you did all that, but you weren't new. Like I said, I was talking about my direct report. There are things that she knows that are very, very advanced. And there are things that she doesn't know that I am just like, how? Just like, how? Like, she doesn't know Ohm's law. I just casually mentioned Ohm's law while trying to teach her the difference between QLC, TLC, MLC, and SLC SSDs. And she's like, what's Ohm's law? What do you mean by that? And I'm like, are you fucking kidding? She graduates this year, by the way, from a 4-year program. A 4-year program with, like, at a school that only accepts, like, 17% of applicants because they're that overloaded with applicants. In a field that deals with electronics. Like, I don't expect her to be on a soldering iron, but you don't know Ohm's law? Are you for real? That's high school shit. For some of us, that was middle school shit. Ohm's law isn't real, just like physics. But yeah, like, if you don't know Ohm's law, how the fuck are you supposed to probe a board for failure points? How are you supposed to test capacitors? You're just gonna learn the operations with the multimeter rote? That's what you're going to do? The answer to that is yes, by the way. Hey, I didn't vote for Ohm's law. I'm not obeying it. Based, Saru. Waifu keeps trying to force you to have mukbang streams. But, like, then she knows, like, very advanced shit about other subjects. So my only conclusion there is that these are things that were just willfully and intentionally not taught to her. I can come to that conclusion because of her obvious skill in other areas. Cuckbang streams. Employers say college education doesn't keep pace with it. Yeah, of course it doesn't. Like, even in the social sciences, one study can take, like, 6, 7, 8 years. Of course it's not keeping pace with technology. Are you kidding me? They're teaching subjects at universities that they have no business teaching in fields that rapidly advance. I think you'd have to stream on a different platform for cuckbang streams. That's a tangent I might get into later, because I have been looking at, like, other platforms, and one of them is looking better than it did a few years ago. A bit controversial, but it's looking a lot better than it was a couple years ago. And with YouTube having AI flag, like, every fucking thing forever as being some sort of monetization problem and literally taking down the streamers' channels, like, yeah, I did call you stupid when you asked about that platform. Because you know what? There's still not a single fucking VTuber that mains that platform. I'm not a VTuber. You are. He says while he's got his Fugi up because of a redeem. Oh, don't say that on Twitch. Oh no, they'll give me a mandatory vacation that lasts less than the amount of time I normally have between streams. Oh no. I used the Hassan method. I wasn't streaming that day anyway. But, like, yeah. You get these demonetization sprees, which I don't think are an accident. I think the AI is doing exactly what it was told to do, which is to reduce revenue loss by just flagging channels aggressively and fuck the false positive rate. Then there's a bonus where YouTube doesn't have to pay out. Sorry, ma'am. The 5 layers of AI you went to still didn't give you to a person. And you're still banned. And we're holding all of your money that we promised you would have. And it's legal because of the contract you click through signed. And and there's nothing you can do. Gig economy hellscape. I am too, Omni. On that note, I will be right back. Like, I will be right back so fast that I'm not going to put up the be right back screen. I will be right back. All right. Sorry about that, chat. I say gargling, and he says, speaking of that, BRB. Yeah, flaccid gull. But no, it's like, it was like what Nero did the other day. Is like, I can say this platform because I plan on being off soon. Based. So, a 4-year, or let's see, otherwise known as hard. Okay, I skipped a bit. I skipped a lot. Otherwise known as hard. Also, you can hear my voice doing that thing again, where it's like I've used it too much, and now there's phlegm building up, and like 9 o'clock is probably going to be so. Like in 30 minutes, that's probably going to be my hard stop. Oh, thanks for the follow. I didn't see that follow earlier. Whoops. NL Bob the Gamer. Appreciate it. That was almost an hour ago. I hope you're still here. Let's see. What a dick. Don't forget to schedule a post on X when you act surprised about the ban. True, you've got to farm your bans, Nero. You have to farm your bans. Even though you knew they were coming. You have to say that you didn't deserve it and you did nothing wrong and that Twitch didn't tell you what you did exactly, even though you knew what it was, and that they hate VTubers. You got that, right? Oh, so now it's against the rules to support a friend. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. You're practicing. You're practicing. Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, there you go. You even got me. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? No, that's excellent, Nero. Good job. Hope expresses a common frustration among college students and the businesses that hire them. The businesses that hired them. Whether they majored in computer programming, nursing, marketing, accounting, or many other areas of study, graduates often find that their courses didn't prepare them for or keep them up to date on the technical and practical skills they need in their first jobs, otherwise known as hard skills. We get hard skills in the chat. These are the knowledge and abilities required to. Why is this article telling me what hard skills are? For fuck's sake, I know that. Is this article for 14-year-olds? Who is supposed to be reading this? Isn't this a business article? What publication is this? What is SHRM? What is SHRM? I don't know what that organization is. The voice of all... What? The voice of all what? All things work. So, like, this is for professionals, and you're sitting here wasting my time explaining to me what hard skills are. Jesus Christ. Alright. So, with that, I'm not reading the rest of this. Because we're coming up on 9 o'clock, and there's a story I want to tell, because what do we got right now? We've got students are not happy with what they're learning at university. Students can't get jobs with the degrees that they're getting at university. And the ones that can often cannot get jobs that are related to their degree, and the ones that can do that can't get jobs that allow them to pay off their student loan debt. And, like, this guy's also saying, like, we have poor skill implementation. But this one I deal with directly. Credential fraud and things that lead to it. So, crucial flaw remains in college testing process. Any testing process. The proctor business is insane. And if you don't know what that is any time where you have to take a test for an organization and they send you to some sort of testing center. Pearson owns a lot of them. Really, Pearson's the big one. But they're all owned, but... Thanks, Nero. Thanks for sharing. Why don't you put up your BRB screen while you're at it? But... Goddamn Pearson view. Yeah. Here's the thing. Sorry, thought I was in Twitter. Nice. Classic, even. But let's talk about the organized cheating ring. Did you guys know that that was a thing? I don't expect anybody in chat to be surprised that that's a thing, but did y'all know that was a thing? Organized cheating. Nero, did you take them? No, no, no. His ear is just rotting his head from inside out. Yeah, it's just, rotting. I wonder if my mic can pick up your Taka Taka. But no, we have discovered several examples of organized cheating. And so we'll start with the most like things people have probably heard of, like selling answer banks on Reddit. That's a thing. I don't know what Cyberfloxin and I know what a Z pack is. What about a ZV pack? Are you blowing bubbles with your ZV pack? Gross. Hi, Inak. What's up? Welcome in. But so this goes like to the industrial scale universities are operating at now. So like the only meaningful way to test thousands of students at the same time is to give them either computer-based tests or to give them a giant scantron. And those scantrons have answer keys. And sometimes the graduate assistants or the teacher's aides or whatever you want to call them, they go by different things. Sometimes those people will look at the access that they have been given to that answer key and be like, I can pay off my student loans by selling this. And they do. And some of them are dumb enough to use the email they have registered with their university in the Reddit account that they post the answer keys are for sale from. The others get away with it. Uh-oh. Not now, sweetheart. That was not the appropriate time to ask that question. Would you stop blowing me up in DMs? Chat, where was I? Scantrons, answer keys. They get away with it. Yeah. Generally the idiots are the only people that don't get away with it. Because like they have privileged access to the answer keys. What are you supposed to do? Well, you're supposed to come up with new answer keys every time you give the exam. But instructors are lazy. Some instructors lament the fact that they have to teach classes at all and they want to be research only and they actively hate their students. Like that's a thing. And answer keys do not get rotated properly as a result. So you can sell the same answer key while you slow walk graduate school for several years and make a ton of money. And this has gotten to the point where it's actually quite organized. People will hire people to take tests for them, but not just to take the test, but to also record what the test was. So what I'll do as an organized cheater is I will literally I will go through the entire registration process for college in a phony way, in a disingenuous way, just so that these people qualify to take the exams, so I can get them into the exam room and get those exams recorded. Or I can bribe a student to, like, put something nasty on the computer, like put in a thumb drive, that sort of thing. But these are things that are targeted. On the other hand, you have entire testing centers that seem to be, shall we say, turning to the dark side. Because there was an instructor that contacted somebody not too long ago that was like, hey, this person needed a makeup exam, and they went to this specific proctor, and they've gone to this proctor before, but every single time they take an exam at this proctor, their test scores swing upward by 50 entire points. And I was like, huh, that's suspicious. And then you start looking at other students' test scores that go to that proctor, and suddenly you start seeing a very concerning pattern. So now we're in the business that we have to have counterintelligence for testing proctoring. Now, that might not sound like the end of the world, but what did we just read? What did we just read? Do you think that helps or hurts the employer perception that people are coming out of college not knowing anything about what they're supposed to know? Obviously, it hurts that perception. The degree to which that is happening, I am unsure of. What I am sure of is that we underwent a cheating revolution during COVID, and I don't think it ever stopped. I'm pretty sure it never stopped, actually. Like, being in the position that I am at, I'm pretty sure it only got worse. So if you think degree acceptance is bad now, helps them immensely. Yeah. If you think that stuff is bad now, I think we're starting to see the beginning of the end of the university grift. It doesn't help anymore. And it hasn't for several years. The issue is that the rest of society hasn't really caught up with that fact yet. It's one of those, if only you knew how bad it really was sort of moments. And that's extremely bad for my job security. Just saying. Like, that's not a good opinion for me to have. But I have it. I don't think there's university systems are going to have to figure out real quick how they can provide real value to their students. But what I think is actually going to happen is that they're going to take the other direction. And you've started to see this in the United States a little bit. There's been a few tepid pushes for this, but what I think the university system is going to do is I think they're going to ask for a bailout. And what that bailout looks like is that no one's going to have student debt anymore because universities will be quote unquote free. And when I say free, I mean they're going to charge twice as much for the degrees, but the taxpayers will pay the bill, and everybody will be sent into the system straight out of high school, regardless of their ability to complete the programs. That's what I think is coming. The 4-year degree is about to be literally high school. And insofar that becomes the case, I'm not sure it will be a thing anymore where you, like, cross the country to get into a specific program at a specific college. I think eventually you're going to get like school zones the way that you have at the K through 12 level, but at the university scale. And you'll just go to whatever university's in your school zone. I don't think that's imminent, but I think that's like maybe the third or fourth domino from where we are right now. If we do what, they will start recording the vids for CEOs and sending them to. Oh, no, never mind. I know the joke you're making right now. Never mind. The thing we covered at the beginning of the stream. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So either the university system collapses or it gets the biggest bailout since Goldman Sachs or Lehman Brothers. And I think society is going to lean towards the latter. And they're also going to ask and successfully get student loan forgiveness. And then I think for a few years, we have another round of double-digit inflation. That's where I think we're going. It's not going to make anything better. In fact, it's going to make things a lot worse. But I don't think there's the political will to allow the higher ed system to fail. I don't think the political will is there. And there's a lot of people who would accept that outcome for the price of having their student loans erased. What did you do that was not streamer? You might need to give your card back. What'd you do, Z? Oh, you showered. Straight to jail. Chat. I don't have VIP slots. I don't have VIP slots, Z. Don't I? Yeah, I need 50 followers to unlock VIP. I ain't got those yet. Oh, oops. Imagine not having my wife VIP'd. I know. Actually, you know what's great is like not giving waifu a VIP slot. That would be fantastic. That'd be a great joke. RM, can't you just tell us that everything will be awesome in the future? No, because I don't have a day job as VTuber. If I were a VTuber, I might tell you that. Like, if I were a deep kayfabe VTuber. What? What? Shots fired. Is ZV. Isn't VTubers like whole thing to like escape the real world for a bit? Isn't like that the whole point of not every VTuber, but like the high kayfabe VTubers? Isn't that the whole idea? We're gonna forget and do drugs. I'm talking about like the high kayfabe. Like, can you imagine the JP? Can you imagine a JP corpo VTuber telling their audience that life sucks? Can I commission a lowly seagull model? You sure can. I'm a fleshy Z. I get into all sorts of trouble with all sorts of problematic opinions. Hey, I just showered too. Y'all were hanging out with me. Yeah, but you're not a VTuber. VTubers are not allowed to shower. You give that card right back. Chat. Riot time. See? Like, it's not a pejorative. It's just a thing that y'all do. It's like, it is like the service y'all are providing. Come smile when there's nothing to smile about. I don't offer that service. I don't offer that service. Let's see. Oh yeah, there are things to be happy about, but it tends to make other people sad. Like when I go into a streamer's chat, when I go into a VTuber's chat and I talk about how I've been happily married for 20 years, sometimes it makes the streamer depressed. And there are several people in this chat who have seen me do that in real time. I'd be like, yeah, life is great. Not me. I'm like, thank God. Yeah, thank God it's not me. Yeah, see, that's great. That's the reaction I expect. Not like, oh no, I'm being literally cucked by my viewers. Why? I've had streamers say that to me, ZV. You just steal wives. Oh, hey, Nick. I see I brought you out of lurking. They get so mad. They do. And I don't mean it, like, I don't do that from a mean place, but, like, the chatters are letting you know, Z. It's just, that's an experience that I have. I was just, oh, so you noticed. People need to go over it and go get some. You know, there's a lot of people that have a kayfabe that they're not allowed to get any. I'm just being real. Some people make that part of their character. And then they whine about their mental health. I wonder if those are related. I tell you. Valid. I tell you, it's, I can accidentally fire some shots by telling the truth as I see it. Being primarily a Hold on, since I'm done with the articles, I'm going to scam Kaviri a little bit. Scam Kaviri. Since we're at the end, personally, I think a 10,000 point redeem that has an effect length of several hours is pretty good. But since we're done with the articles for a bit and I'm just essaying, one of the reasons I decided against VTubing and went flesh tubing is because I do not have an acceptable VTubing kayfabe, and it is not in my character to be like that. I'm kind of infamous for saying what I think. Just a little bit. What can't be related, Nick? What doesn't refresh? I don't. Well, I never know if I have problems. Chat says, hey, that is. Right. Yeah, you never know. You never know. Oh, dear God, flesh, scandal. Yeah. But, like, thanks. It's not cheap. So I'm a photographer, as a hobby. So I actually ended up having a spare camera when I decided to stream, and that was one of the. What do you mean? Why am I tempting chat? Seagull mode. Yeah, Seagull mode was redeemed by Kaviri. But, like, stream is over in a few minutes, and there you go. But yeah, you'd probably grow fast for. No. What do you mean? Where's your seagull? Well, you see, I'd said like twice in the last 20 minutes that I'm primarily a flesh streamer while the Fugi was up because of that redeem, and it started feeling a bit weird. So it doesn't refresh, but it'd be funny to have done it when you switched over. I still don't know what's. Oh, Seagull mode's not refreshing. Oh. Yeah, it's like a once per stream thing. Like, the intent is that somebody redeems it and then it's just not available. And Kaviri did redeem it. Conveniently used. What sentence is that in? Fine, I'll switch back. Y'all are going crazy. Y'all are going absolutely nuts. This seagull doesn't scale well, not because of the non-speaking seagull, but the speaking seagull is at a much lower resolution than the non-speaking seagull. The non-speaking seagull is big enough to be big, big. Waifu has champagne. Streamer permission for what? Chat went real fast while I was while I was turning my lights on. Um. Oh. Oh, the FemCell and mental health part. Yeah. So like, maybe that's a different stream because like mental health is like a security problem for streamers, right? Like sometimes I beat around the bush a lot, and sometimes I get on tangents that are way too what's the word? Circumscribed. But my intent is to do stuff that is at least tangentially related to the streamer experience. And the reason I'm talking about education so much is because I've noticed a bunch of streamers have very advanced degrees, but they're on Twitch and they can't seem to make a living with their degree, and they're hoping that Twitch can help them. And it's not just Twitch, it's other platforms. In fact, one of the things that got me on this subject was I saw somebody saying how somebody was basically on Twitter complaining about OnlyFans models. And maybe that word gets me banned on Twitch, I don't know. But and it was something I said in one of my first streams. It's like the reason people look down on janitors is because janitorial jobs are so easy. I'm getting to that, Saru. Janitor jobs are so easy from a mental power standpoint and on a socioeconomic ladder standpoint that you look down on janitors because you believe that they're in that job because there is literally nothing better that they could be doing with their life. And for a long, long, long time, that was the same attitude towards people in adult industries. That was the best that they could do with their life was sell their body, and it meant they had nothing else going for them. The problem is, when you're taking on $50,000 of debt to get a $35,000 a year job, and the OnlyFans pays $120K a year, that's no longer the case. There are many, many adult content creators with advanced degrees. It is incredibly common. And they're just and when somebody with a 6-year degree works at McDonald's, we blame the system. But when somebody with a 6-year degree goes the adult entertainment route, suddenly that's not the system anymore. Suddenly that's not the system. What do you mean, when am I starting my career? As an adult performer? Only Seagull... ZV... I'm retired from that. You're looking at the other side of that arc. It's not that I haven't started that arc yet. That arc is over. Anyway. I need to buy the OshiFans domain. I know who's holding it. They have offered it to me for free. I need to buy OshiFans. Seagull feet pics. True. The point is, when somebody with a 6-year degree is working at a burger flipping joint, we don't be like, wow, that's the best that that person can do. They should feel bad. What we do is be like, wow, why are we in a system where you can get a 6-year degree and then be flipping burgers? But for some reason, nobody applies this logic to adult content, which I find to be very interesting. Works 3 jobs in VTuber, and yeah, and that's one of the reasons I'm talking about this topic, is because this affects a lot of streamers. A lot of streamers are in this position. And for some reason, we're mad at the streamers that they're getting quote unquote free money by being the top 0.17%. Like we call it free money and then also acknowledge that they're like the 0.17% in their field at the same time. As like, it doesn't work that way. It does depend what the degree is in, but like I said before, accreditation agencies are supposed to be taking that into account. A school is supposed to lose their accreditation if their job placement falls below certain thresholds, if they have programs that serve no employment purpose. Like, this is supposed to hurt these institutions, and it clearly isn't. So like, accreditation is compromised. And it's rotting cybersecurity out just as hard as it's rotting everything else out. And I'd say it's rotting out cybersecurity in more insidious ways because of the multi-disciplinary life experience things that help you be a cybersecurity professional. It takes life experience to be an effective cybersecurity professional. You have to have seen evil. You have to have a theory of mind of evil. You have to be capable of thinking like a bad guy without becoming one. And that takes a certain degree of life experience. A certain degree of life experience that involves going outside, which is kind of rare for people interested in anything IT. So that kind of winnows the field a bit. Only slime. I'm pretty sure that's already owned by people who like make the stem slime. And I'm going to be very controversial here. Enjoy sleep, Inak. I hope you feel better. I don't actually think mental health is declining. I don't think that's real. Show the flesh! No. What I think is real is that humans are adapting to fucked up circumstances. I don't think we're maladjusted. I think we're adjusting to awful stuff. And while that can manifest as mental illness, asylums should be real, yes, but that's a different conversation about different kinds of mental illness, because those are not the asylum tiers of mental illness is not the things that's going up. It's the high functioning mental illness. It's the high functioning mental illness that's skyrocketing. It's high functioning mental illness that is being categorized as new things in the DSM-5. It's stuff that you could expect a population to experience if their environment was absolute dog shit. Now, that's a completely unqualified opinion, and I rarely give those here, so I'm going to be forward with that. I don't know enough about psychology to say that, other than that that's a hunch. But when you see the increase of medication being handed out for certain things, and everybody seems to be collecting labels, you have to think about why that is. We're not evolving. Like, humans have not fundamentally genetically changed for like tens of thousands of years. I should probably go to college for it. As you see, I would, except the pay is terrible and the retraction rate for psychology papers is well over 50%. So I'm not sure they know what they know, to be honest with you. Mental illness is socially contagious, that is true. But like, what I'll call hard mental illnesses, you know, the kind where you get a spike through your brain and then you change your behavior forever. Thank you for the glizzy sacrifice, waifu. I just noticed that. But like you don't acquire schizophrenia, like not the type 1. Like that's usually direct brain trauma that causes that, or very very hard genetic markers that cause that. Like again, having a piece of shrapnel sliced through your medulla oblongata um will fuck you up, and but that part isn't socially contagious. Oh, went to school for it, and as you said earlier, is top 250. I hope she gets her jacket. Does she have her jacket, or it would be cool if she got her jacket. I hope she gets her jacket. I asked that last night, but y'all didn't notice or didn't want to say. Yeah, the purpose of asylums is to quarantine the mental illness to prevent spreading it. That's also true, but it's also to like protect the mentally ill person and the other people in more direct ways. Like there are people on the street right now that absolutely should not be on the street just because they cannot take care of themselves and there's no one to take care of them for them. Like like I said, I'm not talking about the hard mental illnesses. I'm talking about the soft ones like divorce being cool, because I think that is also a mental illness. But it's like that one's a particularly zeitgeist social contagion type of mental illness. I think we're just in an awful place as a society and we're adjusting to it because humans are really good at adjusting to things. The problem is we're properly coping with an environment that's terrible. That's all. Am I done being cancelable yet? I think I am. I think I'm done being cancelable. So I will see you guys next week. Yeah, life sucks, then you die, just accept it and move on. See, my life has been pretty great. Knock on wood. People are seeing other people getting rewarded for mental illness. I absolutely 100% agree with that. Yes, we are with each other on that one. You are not cancelable. We keeping you around. That's another thing that I wish other streamers could learn early, is that as long as your audience likes you, you are not actually cancelable. Who decides whether or not you are cancelable is your audience. But since ZV is getting an ad, I will leave it at that. Now you're gonna get canceled. Yeah. I will see you guys next week. For those of you who have missed it, my sister is sick and we will not have collab tomorrow. I'm going to try to be on Helldivers with Kaviri tomorrow morning. See y'all later.